Hello everyone, this video is going to show you how to finish off the action sequence pictures that we started a couple weeks ago. So first thing you need to do is open up Photoshop. I already have it open, so I'm going to just go ahead and start to open my pictures. The way you need to open the pictures for this action sequence thing is instead of going to File Open, you need to go to File, Scripts, and then Load Files into Stack. This allows you to select multiple pictures in a series and load them all on top of each other. So I already have my folder open. You would go to your home drive and look for your pictures. I'm actually going to do this example with field hockey, and let me select all of these. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in this series. I'm not going to use all 8 pictures, but I'm going to load them all first. I don't know how many pictures you have in each of your series, so you might have more, you might have less. Before you click OK, you need to make sure that you click Attempt to Automatically Align Source Images. This is going to make sure that all of your backgrounds are aligned. So go ahead and hit that box and then click OK. You might have to wait a little while for this to render. You'll see your progress bar come up. When it's all done, you'll be able to start working on it. So let's just wait a couple seconds here. And I'm actually just going to pause the video and let this load. Okay, now that my images are loaded into this stack, you can see all of these layers are every single picture that was in that series, and they're all stacked on top of each other. I'm going to get rid of the checkerboard grade areas in the corners and around the edges because there is nothing there in those pictures. So I'm going to go ahead and take my crop tool and just kind of crop out those edges so I don't have anything that's missing in my picture. So here's my final image will be this size, and I will have no checkerboard spots, so everything will actually be visible. So now I can actually go in and start editing out these pictures. Just to remind you what we're doing again, basically we're trying to take the action sequence of whatever you took your pictures of and whoever is in your picture and have multiple versions of that person performing that action in one final picture. We're going to use the layer mask options like we did in the Surrealism project. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of limit the amount of pictures that I want. I'm not going to use all 8 of these, so I'm kind of going to decide which ones I want to keep. You can do that by looking and clicking on the eyeball to make the images visible and see if they would overlap. Since these 2 pictures right here overlap because Kaylin's kind of right here in this picture and then she's still in the same spot here, I'm actually going to delete the layer beneath it. So she kind of jumps forward a little bit. And I might actually delete that one too because she would still kind of be overlapped there. So this is personal preference. Again, it's harder to make these pictures realistic when they're overlapping because you have to spend a lot of time going back and forth on the layer masks. I only kept these 3 pictures of Kaylin. I deleted the other ones. So now I'm going to add the layer mask to the top 2 images. I actually don't need to add it to the bottom one because I'm not going to edit the bottom picture in any way. So all I'm going to do is now select my paintbrush, and you need to make sure that your foreground and background colors are black and white, which are these 2 boxes down here. If these colors are not black and white, simply select the box, and then white is the top left corner, and black is the top left or the bottom left corner, excuse me. So make sure those 2 colors are black and white, so when you paint, you'll be able to use them the correct way. Okay, with my paintbrush selected, just a couple of shortcut reminders. X will switch the foreground and background color from white to black, so all you have to do is hit X on your keyboard. And the bracket keys, which are the 2 keys below your backspace button, is the left key will make your brush smaller, and the right key will make your brush bigger. The last shortcut to remember is that Control plus zooms in, and Control minus zooms out. You'll need to know that when you're zooming in for details. Okay, so I need black selected. Remember, white hides everything and black reveals it. So since I'm working on this first picture, I need to have the layer mask selected. I'm going to hit X to switch to black, and all I'm going to do is just paint Kaylin out here, and I'm going to try to paint her shadow out as well. Now, once you start painting, you'll start seeing some of the other pictures come through, but don't worry about that right now. So there's my first one. I have all of that changed, so what I'm going to do is hit Control I and bring the other picture forwards. Now I've switched the 2 colors, and now I can move on to the second one. So here's my second layer mask. I still have black selected, so I'm going to paint over this one. Try to get every part of her, including the shadow, and then again hit Control I. So now the only thing that I really have to fix is right here where my two pictures overlapped. I want this picture to come up in front so it looks like this stick is actually behind the second body. So what I need to do is go back to my very first layer, and now that I have black selected, if I start painting over those areas, I can start hiding that part behind her. So this is where I'm going to hit Control plus and zoom in. And I'm going to hold my spacebar down so I can click and hold and move over. And then I'm going to make my paintbrush a little bit smaller so I can do the same thing with her arm here. I'm still painting black, and I want this arm to kind of come up forward. I can't see these little parts here because that is in the other picture. So what I have to do now is kind of click back and forth between these two layer masks, and I have to figure out whether I'm trying to hide this part of the picture or reveal it. So I'm going to have to keep using my X key to go back and forth, and right now I'm on white, but that wasn't the right part, so I'm going to hit Control Z. I'm going to come down here, and let's get that part first. Now I'm going to come down to this picture and click on that layer mask, try to bring forward the rest of the hand. There's her arm there. And when you get into parts with the background where it looks like two of the pictures are overlapping, it's really up to you which one you want to use. I'm just going to kind of try my best to make it look realistic, but I really don't care about the background as much as I care about everything else in the front. So again, I'm just kind of going back and forth between these layer masks and figuring out which one I need to hide and which one I need to reveal. So now I'm starting to get the rest of her hand on the bottom here. Back to that one and hit X. Bring out the rest of her arm. And I know I still have to kind of go through and get that other part of the picture down there too. So I'm going to go back to this one, hit X again. But when I get here, I know I want her arm. Make my brush a little bit smaller again. Get as close to that as I can. And this is all going to be on you to kind of figure out which ones you need to do and how tight along those edges you would like to get. Just keep hitting X, keep going through, and getting as close to those edges as I can. So I gotta try to find out which one is the front part of her jersey here. There it is. Once you think you have it close enough, you can hit Control minus and zoom out. And as long as it looks believable from that far away, then you're okay. I could go back in here and try to fix some of her shadow. Oh, wrong one. That would be on this one. And alright, that looks okay. So once you are all done, if you have to crop anything else on the edges, you would have to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and crop that part. And then just make sure you save it as a JPEG so you can submit it. So I will go to File, Save As, and make sure you change that format to a JPEG. Once you are all finished and you have all of the action sequences done that you need, please submit them to the Google Classroom post and we will move on from there. Don't forget to drag your file size slider all the way to the right to make sure you have the maximum file size.